Bombardier's got this gem of a series that's kind of flying under the radar, and honestly, it's a bit of a head-scratcher why it doesn't get more love. Enter the Bombardier Challenger 600, the go-to choice for those who really know their stuff when it comes to flying in style. And in this video, we're diving into all the reasons why this jet is a top pick for folks who demand nothing but the best. Be sure to stick around, and we'll reveal how much it'll cost you to fly this rebel. So let's chat about the Challenger 600, a revolution in the business jet scene. This aircraft is more than a kickoff for the 600 series. It's the first ever wide-body business jet, setting a whole new bar for what luxury in the sky means. Now, the backstory here is pretty cool, starting with Bill Lear. Yeah, the guy who brought us the Learjet. In the mid-1970s, he was dreaming bigger. He wanted a jet that doesn't just address speed, but also its space, comfort, and the ability to hop continents like it's no big deal. He initially named it the Lear Star 600. Enter Canadair, the Canadian aircraft maker who saw what Lear was onto and said, "Let's do this." They took over in 1976, spicing things up with a new name, the CL600 Challenger. The standout feature? Its cabin. We're talking stand-up space unheard of at the time, paired with twin turbofan engines on the tail. Apparently its maiden flight was in 1978, and despite a few hiccups money-wise, the Challenger 600 made its mark with its bold design and solid performance, kicking off a legacy that's still going strong. Now you might wonder, how does the Challenger 600 hold up against the sleek modern jets of today? Well, stick with us. We're about to dive into all the juicy details about the Challenger 600 and why it's still a standout in the world of business aviation. VIP cabin retreat. Let's talk about what makes the Challenger 600's cabin a standout in the world of private jets, shall we? First off, this cabin is roomy. With about 28.3 feet in length, 8.2 feet across, and a 6.1-foot ceiling, there's more than enough space to stretch out and relax. Typically, it welcomes between 9 to 12 guests in absolute comfort, though it can fit up to 19 folks if you need to pack the squad in. Now, the layout is pretty slick. You've got a galley up front that's kitted out to whip up gourmet meals mid-air. Think microwave, coffee maker, and loads of storage. The seating areas are where it gets really good. Picture starting with a cozy club section of 4 chairs, perfect for chats or getting work done. Then, depending on how it's set up, you could find yourself in a conference area or chilling on divans, with a lavatory tucked away at the back for convenience. And those seats? We're talking about top-notch upholstery, chairs that swivel and recline, plus divans that double as beds. Comfort is king here, with plenty of room for your legs and ergonomic support to boot. Air quality and comfort aren't left to chance either. At cruising altitude, the cabin's designed to feel like you're only 7,000 feet up, making jet lag less of a drag. The air's always fresh, thanks to a system that was pretty ahead of its time. Those 14 windows are more than Instagram stories. They offer killer views and flood the cabin with natural light. Connectivity and entertainment options might vary, given the aircraft's age. Original models came with phones, adjustable lighting, and stereos, but if you hop on a retrofitted one, expect high-speed Wi-Fi, HD screens, and a sound system that'll make your playlist sound epic. Noise? Barely there, thanks to some serious soundproofing and the smart design of the engines and airframe. The lavatory at the back isn't just an afterthought. It's spacious, with a full vanity, plenty of light and storage. Some even come with a shower so you can land feeling refreshed. And let's not forget the baggage compartment. Flight accessible and offering around 115 cubic feet of space, it means you can bring pretty much anything you need, from golf clubs to skis, without a second thought. Cockpit advancements. All right, let's venture into the cockpit of the Challenger 600, where the magic happens for the pilots. This space was designed with both comfort and function in mind, giving 2 pilots plenty of elbow room. Back when it first took to the skies, the cockpit was decked out with big, analog gauges and the classic flight instruments of the time. The heart of its original avionics was the SPZ-600 system, pretty much the gold standard back then. This setup included a flight director, air data computers, and could handle fancy maneuvers like altitude hold, vertical speed adjustments, and sticking to a set heading. These features were pretty advanced, more something you'd expect from larger commercial planes. The Challenger was also equipped with some solid tech to keep an eye on the weather, thanks to the SPZ Primus 400 color weather radar. And when it comes to keeping the aircraft under control, redundancy is the name of the game. With 3 separate hydraulic systems, even if one were to go kaput, pilots could still manage the critical flight controls. As for navigation, it combined VILS receivers, a dual SPZ C4D compass system, and an inertial navigation system, tech that was ahead of its curve at the time. But, as with all great things, upgrades became part of the Challenger 600's journey. Many of these jets have been retrofitted with the latest in avionics, like the Rockwell Collins Pro Line 21 suite. This upgrade is like turning the cockpit into the bridge of a starship, with big LCD displays that make reading flight data a breeze. It pulls everything together, flight data, engine performance, navigation, and weather info, into one seamless interface. And let's not stop there. Upgrades over the years have added GPS for pinpoint navigation, systems to avoid bumping into other aircraft, which is always a good thing, and tech to keep a safe distance from the ground. Keeping up with the times, these jets now meet the ADS-B out requirements, which helps air traffic control keep tabs on them, making the skies safer for everyone. Plus, communication hasn't been left in the dust either. With the latest satellite comms and modern VHF radios, chatting with air traffic control and ground services is clearer than ever. Performance metrics. Let's get into what powers the Challenger 600 and what flying in one feels like. This jet takes its muscle from 2 Lycoming AL5002L turbofan engines. Each of these powerhouses can go for 6,000 hours before needing a timeout, and they kick out a solid 7,500 pounds of thrust. Back in the 80s, when this jet first hit the scene, those numbers were pretty impressive for a business jet. Choosing these engines was a turning point. It meant the Challenger 600 could hit the speed and range targets it was aiming for. To get airborne, it needs a runway about 5,700 feet long at sea level on a typical day. Once it's up, it can climb at a clip of 2,000 feet per minute, all the way up to 41,000 feet. Speed-wise, it cruises at a brisk 453 knots, and it's pretty thirsty, guzzling around 260 gallons of fuel every hour. But here's the thing. It can fly 3,200 nautical miles without needing to stop for a refill. That means it can zip across the US from coast to coast, no sweat. Even with the wind doing its best to slow things down, the Challenger 600 keeps on going, making it perfect for hopping between a lot of city pairs without needing to pause. And when it's time to come back down to Earth, it can land in just 2,600 feet, even with a full tank and carrying an extra 1,500 pounds of whatever you need for your trip. Costs and expenses. Now let's dive into the nitty-gritty of what it costs to get yourself into the pilot's seat of a Challenger 600, or maybe just enjoy the ride in the back. Kicking things off, snagging a brand new Challenger 600 back in the day would set you back a cool $9 million before you even started ticking options boxes. And if you're thinking about chartering one for a spin, you're looking at anywhere from $6,000 to a whopping $110,000 per hour. Yeah, that's quite the range, right? But it's all down to how available the jet is, the ever-changing prices of jet fuel, those pesky ground fees, and the general costs of keeping a jet like this in the air. When it comes to the yearly bill for having one of these beauties at your beck and call, you're staring down the barrel of $600,000 to $900,000 in fixed costs alone. And when you boil it down to what it costs to keep it flying, hour by hour, we're talking about $3,000 to $55,000. Sure, those numbers are enough to make your wallet wince, but for the luxury and convenience the Challenger 600 offers, it's all part of the deal. Thanks for sticking around till the end. We've got a couple of cool videos lined up for you next. If you had a good time with this one, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate you watching.